In 1964, President Lyndon B. Johnson launched the War on Poverty, stating, "Our aim is not only to relieve the symptoms of poverty, but to cure it, and above all, to prevent it." Johnson said he wanted to make taxpayers out of tax eaters. His goal was to reduce welfare spending and increase self-sufficiency. He viewed the program as an investment. $22 trillion spent in vain. The so-called war on poverty has failed. The federal government has spent $22 trillion taxpayer dollars since 1964, and upward mobility for the poorest Americans has decreased since 1970. Increased spending on education in the last 50 years has not generated higher test scores and has mostly gone to schools administration. The poorest of the poor have been the hardest hit. The percentage of the poor in deep poverty has risen 50% since 1974. Those are people who make less than $6,000 per year. That is 33,500,000 Americans, 1 out of 10, who are dreadfully poor. In that same 50-year period, the wealthiest Americans have seen real wages almost double. We believe citizens working together can solve the problems that the government has not.
I want to solve this problem. I've been studying this problem and trying to solve these issues for over 30 years. In 1990, I was appointed to the U.S. Civil Rights Commission by Senator Bob Dole. I resigned in 2005, frustrated by government failure and inaction. I tried working through the system and found the system broken. I'm an economist, and that is the lens through which I see the world. After 30 years of trying, I know what doesn't work, and I pulled a team together to execute a new vision. Why now? Because the ability to reach youth in poverty and give them the tools to move into the middle class and beyond is unprecedented. Recently, I started looking for the very best way to invest in human potential. That's when I met Hanif Hardy and learned about the work he's doing with youth in Philadelphia and Baltimore.
I am from that world that we're talking about. I grew up sometimes homeless on the streets of Philadelphia. My mother died from a drug overdose. I was surrounded by poverty and crime. Fortunately, I had great mentors. I succeeded in athletics, finishing number 5 in the U.S. in high school, going off to Morgan State, being part of one of the fastest relays in Morgan State history. I also did really well in academics. I was able to earn a master's degree from Morgan State University. Now I am pulling kids up that are in the same situation that I came from. I am helping them reach their unlimited potential. These kids are surrounded by poverty, filth, and crime. By the time they reach high school, they've been to more funerals than weddings. I have been to countless funerals and only one wedding at the age of 27. Most of these kids didn't have a father in their lives. They don't understand that a different life can exist, but they've never been exposed to it. There's literally no one in the community that can teach them until now.
As I think about my 50 years of professional investing, I realize that one of the very best investments we can make for the future of our children and grandchildren is to solve the problem of persistent generational poverty. Our research shows that the best way to combat poverty and increase the self-sufficiency of what I call the left-behind Americans is through mentoring and the teaching of financial literacy.
Together with the Shift the Narrative Foundation, I developed a program of mentoring, financial literacy, and teaching entrepreneurship. This program has never been available to the kids in the inner city. They have no one to teach them how to open up a checking account, much less start a business, apply to college, or understand interest rates. Teaching these kids to be financially literate gives them a huge advantage. It increases their chances of moving into the middle class and beyond. Before I met Russell, I never thought about home ownership, insurance, or interest rates, and I have a master's degree. These are not conversations that are happening in the inner city. Another thing that we're doing to improve our impact is measuring everything that we do. Testing and metrics are a big part of our programs to enhance our effect over time.
The system has failed the kids with whom we work. They are facing a future of poverty, premature mortality, and incarceration. Earnings and life expectancy are lower for high school dropouts. 80% of prison inmates don't have a high school diploma. In our first project with Hanif, we discovered what should have been obvious, that is, local leaders know best what their communities need. And more importantly, they know best how to deliver that. In our first attempt, before Hanif, when we tried to direct from our limited street-level knowledge, our projects failed. We now see our job is to invest in people who are already successful on the ground and in their communities. For example, what Hanif has produced is substantial results. He's filed incorporation papers for his own 501c3. He has raised on his behalf $70,000 and $50,000 in in-kind donations, advanced the tutoring of his scholar high school athletes, and improved many Philadelphia neighborhoods with his cleanup projects. He has moved from being a partner in Philadelphia and Baltimore to being a leader. We are amplifying the skills and reach of local community leaders. In our very first project with Hanif, we invested $10,000, and that produced a measurable return on that investment of 12x. Our next program will be to raise money to train and direct and guide other local leaders. The cost for each of these is about $16,000, $10,000 of which is a grant for them to further their community work. I am the steward of your donor dollars. I am more careful with your money than with my own. I'm an economist, a professional investor, and an entrepreneur. We are currently asking for 4-figure donations to fund the initiative which I just described. Help us improve lives and improve intergenerational prosperity.
I'm inviting you to make a difference and to make a direct investment in increasing human potential.